Most people building a camper van spend $15,000 on a conversion, then realize 3 months later they bought the wrong van. Whether you're looking at a Ford Transit, a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, or a Ram ProMaster, one of these platforms makes dramatically more financial sense than the others, and the answer is not the same for everyone. Before you touch a single sheet of plywood or watch a single build video, you need to answer the right question. Which cargo van is actually worth converting for your specific situation? Not which one looks best online, not which one your favorite van lifer drives. Which one makes financial and practical sense for your budget, your geography, and what you're actually going to do with it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which van to buy, and more importantly, which one to avoid. The van life YouTube illusion. Before we get into the vans, there's something you need to understand, because it's distorting how most people make this decision. Most vans you see on YouTube are $100,000 to $150,000 builds. They're not typical conversions. They're sponsored builds, professional fabrications, or influencer projects funded by brand deals. The Sprinter with the custom cabinetry, the composting toilet, the roof deck, the lithium bank, that's not the average build. That's a marketing asset. If you're building a $30,000 or $50,000 van, and most Rio buyers are, your priorities should be completely different from what the algorithm is showing you. You need reliability, parts availability, and a platform that doesn't punish you financially when something goes wrong. Keep that in mind every time a build video makes a van look effortless. Effortless builds have budgets you're not seeing. The real stakes. Here's the number most people never calculate before they buy: total cost of ownership. The sticker price on the van is not what the van costs you. By the time you factor in the conversion, repairs, fuel, insurance, depreciation, and resale value, you're looking at a completely different financial picture depending on which platform you choose. Let's use two examples people treat as interchangeable: the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter and the Ram ProMaster. A used Sprinter, 2019, high roof extended, might run you $35,000 to $45,000. A comparable ProMaster, $22,000 to $28,000. That's a $15,000 difference before you've bought a single piece of lumber. Now, if both vans got you to the same destination, were equally reliable and cost the same to maintain, the choice would be obvious. But they don't, and that's what this video breaks down. Because the van that saves you money on day one might cost you significantly more by year 3, and the van that feels expensive up front might actually be the smarter long-term investment. Here's the part most buyers miss. It's not just about the van itself, it's about what's available where you're going to drive it. The Big Four. Let's run through the 4 main cargo van platforms being converted right now. Honest version, not the tour version. Ford Transit. The most popular conversion van in the United States, and there's a very specific reason for that. Parts are everywhere. Every Ford dealer in America can service it. The V6 EcoBoost is powerful and well understood by mechanics at every price point. The high roof version gives you 6'3" of standing room without a roof raise. Multiple wheelbases, multiple roof heights, all-wheel drive available. It's the most configurable platform in this category. But here's the design flaw that almost every conversion builder complains about: the wheel arches. Because the Transit uses a rear-wheel drive platform, those wheel arches intrude into the cargo area in a way that complicates a clean, flat floor. You work around it, most builders do, but it adds complexity to your plan foot and limits certain furniture configurations. It's not a deal breaker. It is a real constraint you should plan for before you start cutting wood. Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. The aspirational van. The cult following is earned, build quality is excellent, the cargo area is wide with a flat floor, interior dimensions are generous, and it handles more like a car than a cargo van. The high roof version gives you real standing room. But the problem isn't the van itself, it's what happens when something breaks. Mercedes dealer network coverage in rural America is not what Ford's is. DEF system issues, diesel exhaust fluid, are a known, recurring, expensive problem on high-mileage Mercedes diesels. Parts are not cheap. The Sprinter rewards buyers who maintain it religiously and travel routes with reliable access to service. It punishes everyone else. Ram ProMaster. Built on a Fiat Ducato platform, which means in Europe it's essentially the same van with a different badge. Picture the floor layout of these three vans side by side. The Transit has wheel arches jutting in from both rear corners. Workable, but you're designing around an obstacle. The Sprinter gives you a wider, cleaner floor, but the interior is narrower than people expect from the outside. The ProMaster has a completely flat, uninterrupted floor with near vertical walls. Ironically, the van many DIY builders finish first is not the Sprinter or the Transit, it's the ProMaster. The geometry just works in your favor from the start. The honest downside, reliability on early models. The 2019 and later ProMasters are meaningfully improved, but the used market has a lot of early examples with documented transmission issues. Know what year you're buying before you make an offer. Nissan NV. Appears frequently in used listings at attractive prices. Strong engine, high payload, surprisingly spacious and high roof spec. But Nissan discontinued the NV in 2021. Parts availability is declining, dealer support is thinning, resale is soft and getting softer. This van makes sense if you're mechanically competent and not planning to resale. For everyone else, be cautious. Declining platform support is a long-term cost that doesn't show up on the listing price. The geography factor. Here's the controversial insight, and I want you to actually sit with this. The best cargo van for conversion is not a universal answer, it is a geographic answer. If you're converting a van for full-time travel across the continental United States, Ford Transit wins on pure practicality. There are 3,000 Ford dealers in America. When your van needs a sensor replaced on a Tuesday night in a town of 8,000 in rural New Mexico, that dealer network is worth real money, not theoretical money, real measurable money in time, stress, and repair cost. If you're converting in Western Europe, the equation flips almost completely. The Fiat Ducato is one of the most common commercial vans on European roads. Parts are inexpensive, mechanics know the platform everywhere, and the diesel engines in the European spec version are significantly more refined than what's sold in the US. In Germany, France, Spain, Portugal, the UK, the Ducato represents far better value than importing an American platform equivalent. The Sprinter is well supported in Europe too, obviously, but the Ducato is the practical choice for buyers prioritizing value. Now you know. Now here's where it gets important, because we haven't talked about the one factor that matters more than the van itself.
The conversion math. Most buyers pick a van first, then figure out the conversion budget. That's backwards. You need to reverse engineer the decision from your total number, van plus build combined, before you decide on a platform. Here's why this matters. A Sprinter that costs $40,000 and then needs a $1,200 DEF system repair in year 2 is a different financial decision than a Transit that costs $30,000 with a $400 repair in the same period. When your build budget is tight, a surprise mechanical doesn't just cost money, it costs build momentum. People stall, projects sit half-finished. That's how the wrong van purchase ruins an entire trip plan, not just a bank account. Here's the math most buyers never run. What happens to your financial position if you have a $3,000 mechanical surprise in the first 18 months? On a ProMaster, where you saved $12,000 on the purchase price, you still come out ahead. On a Sprinter, where you paid the premium and saved nothing on purchase price, that same $3,000 surprise changes your situation significantly. Rule of thumb: budget 15% of your van's purchase price annually for maintenance and unexpected repairs, especially on any diesel with a DEF system. If that number makes the Sprinter unaffordable, then the Sprinter is unaffordable. Adjust accordingly. This is not a judgment, it's arithmetic. Who should buy what? Let's make this concrete. Identify which buyer you are, because this is exactly where generic van content fails you. The retiree couple doing extended US travel. When you're 2,000 miles from home and the nearest town has one mechanic and a gas station, reliability stops being a feature. It becomes peace of mind. You want to call a dealer and have the problem solved, not diagnose it yourself on the shoulder of a highway. Ford Transit. 2020 or later, medium or high roof depending on your height, EcoBoost gas engine. Do not overthink this. The Transit is your van. The family doing a 1 to 2 year trip. You need space, you need reliability, and you need room for bikes, kayaks, and gear that makes a tight conversion complicated. Ford Transit Extended High Roof or Sprinter 170 wheelbase. Budget for the Sprinter only if your route keeps you near major metro areas where service is accessible. The full-time van lifer on a tight budget. Your priority is low purchase price, flat floor for the build, and predictable operating costs. Ram ProMaster 2500 High Roof 2019 or later. The flat floor is a real conversion advantage, the purchase price is lower, and the post-2019 reliability improvements are documented. Get the full pre-purchase mechanical inspection. Don't negotiate on that point. The European buyer. Fiat Ducato or Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, diesel, Euro 6 or later. Ducato for value and universal parts access, Sprinter for a more premium experience if budget genuinely allows. Either is a smarter choice than importing an American platform equivalent. The off-pavement buyer. The one scenario where the decision shifts meaningfully, Ford Transit all-wheel drive or Sprinter 4x4, knowing that the 4x4 Sprinter is among the most expensive options in this entire category. If your trips regularly take you onto unpaved roads, the added traction is a safety feature, not a luxury. But if you're mostly on tarmac with occasional gravel, standard two-wheel drive is fine. Don't pay the four-wheel drive premium for terrain you'll never actually encounter. Inspection non-negotiables. Whatever van you choose, 4 inspection points apply across every platform. Skipping any one of them is how buyers end up with a $25,000 mistake. Frame rust, not surface rust, structural rust. Get under the van, look at the frame rails, the subframe, the suspension mounting points. On Sprinters, check around the rear axle specifically. On Transits, inspect the front subframe. Rust on these components is not cosmetic, it is safety issues and a repair cost that will change the economics of your entire build. DEF system history on diesels. If you're looking at a high-mileage diesel Sprinter or Ducato, ask for service records specifically covering the DEF system, the EGR valve, and the DPF filter. These 3 components on high-mileage diesel vans are expensive failure points. A clean service history here is worth paying for. No service history here is worth walking away from. Roof integrity. This matters specifically for conversion. If the van has had any prior solar, roof rack, or ventilation install, inspect those penetration points carefully. Silicone over improper installations causes water intrusion that doesn't show up until you've already built your interior. That is a complete teardown situation. Transmission behavior on the test drive. Not just whether it shifts, how it shifts. On the ProMaster, pay attention to hesitation between first and second under load. On the Sprinter, note any shudder during cold starts. These are early indicators of repairs that run $4,000 to $8,000 if left unaddressed. My actual opinion. The van life content ecosystem has massively oversold the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter to buyers who cannot financially justify it. The Sprinter is a genuinely excellent van. It is also the most heavily marketed, most aspirationally positioned van in this space, which means its used market pricing reflects desire, not just value. You are paying a premium for the badge, the aesthetic, the community association, and the YouTube algorithm. That premium is real money, and for a significant portion of buyers, particularly first-time builders on a $30,000 to $50,000 total budget, that is money that should go into your conversion, your emergency fund, or your first year of travel costs. If I forced you to recommend one cargo van for most buyers in the United States right now, it would be the Ford Transit. Not because it's the most exciting van, because it's the least likely to ruin your conversion budget, the most likely to get repaired when something goes wrong, and the most forgiving platform for first-time builders dealing with real-world constraints. If you have the budget for a Sprinter and you've priced out total cost of ownership honestly, buy the Sprinter. It earns its price. But if you're stretching to get there, don't.
The Transit will not disappoint you. The financial stress of an overstretched purchase will. The decision framework, simplified. Under $60,000 total budget in the US, Ford Transit. Over $60,000 total budget, traveling near metro corridors, Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. Tight budget, prioritizing build simplicity and flat floor, Ram ProMaster 2019 Plus. European-based buyer, Fiat Ducato or Sprinter, diesel, Euro 6 or later. Off-pavement is a genuine priority, Ford Transit all-wheel drive or Sprinter 4x4, only if budget allows honestly. The smartest van build isn't the one that gets the most likes, it's the one that still runs when your trip actually begins. Which platform are you leaning towards right now, and what's the one thing holding you back from committing? Drop it in the comments. Budget, geography, trip type, give me the details and I'll give you my honest take.